Amani froze at the threshold of her cramped quarters, her pulse hammering against her ribs as she processed the impossible tableau before her. There, passed out across her narrow mattress in a bespoke suit worth more than her life's earnings, was Jabali Kamani, the tech billionaire who usually looked through her like she was made of glass, the tyrant who had treated her like a ghost for the last 8 months. His typically immaculate dreadlocks were in disarray, his face softened in slumber, and the heavy reek of single malt scotch saturated the air of her tiny room. But how did the Lion of Nairobi, the city's most feared CEO, end up in his housekeeper's bed? And why would this solitary, drunken night rewrite the destiny of both their bloodlines? If you are already hooked by this twist, hit that subscribe button to Echoes of Africa and ring the notification bell. You do not want to miss the climax of this tale. And don't forget to comment below which city you are watching from and what time it is there right now. 24 hours earlier, Jabali Kamani stood in his glass-walled penthouse in Westlands, glaring out at the Nairobi skyline with eyes as hard as the obsidian floor beneath him. At 29, he controlled a tech conglomerate worth billions of shillings. Yet his soul remained locked in a winter of its own, frozen since the day his mother packed her bags when he was 12, screaming that he was just as unfeeling as his ruthless father. Amani moved like a phantom through the penthouse corridors, cleaning supplies in her grip, invisible to the man who signed her paychecks. At 25, she was nothing like the revolving door of staff who quit within weeks of facing Jabali's icy temper. While others ran from his biting sarcasm and impossible standards, Amani stayed, not out of loyalty, but out of necessity. Every shilling she scraped together went toward her 9-year-old brother Enzi's dialysis. The hospital bills were suffocating her family, and this job, however degrading, was the only thing keeping them afloat. In her tiny servants' quarters on the ground floor, she sketched architectural blueprints late into the night, dreaming of building homes, while reality kept her polishing floors for a man who saw her as nothing more than a functional appliance. Amani. Jabali's baritone voice thundered through the hallway that afternoon. The library archives better be organized before I return tonight. I am hosting international investors tomorrow. She nodded mutely, watching him storm toward his Range Rover, his suit armor-plated, phone already glued to his ear as he decimated a subordinate on the other end of the line. Amani had mastered the art of fading into the background, present enough to serve, but invisible enough to survive his fury. That evening, Jabali's empire took a massive hit. Kamani Tech lost the government infrastructure tender to a foreign rival, a digital city project that would have secured his legacy in East Africa. The defeat wasn't just financial, it was existential. His father, the formidable Mzee Kamani, would be livid, and Jabali could already hear the disdain dripping from his voice during their scheduled briefing from Mombasa. At the Onyx, Nairobi's most exclusive lounge, Jabali tried to drown his failure in glass after glass of aged scotch. Junior partners tried to offer platitudes, but he banished them with a glare, preferring the toxic comfort of liquor to their hollow flattery. "Sir, we need to get you home," his head of security, Otieno, urged around 2 a.m., finding Jabali slumped over the mahogany bar. The drive back was a kaleidoscope of streetlights and Jabali's dark ruminations. He had conquered the market to prove he wasn't the disappointment his mother swore he would be. Yet here he was, inebriated, beaten, and profoundly solitary. Otieno half-dragged Jabali into the mansion, but somewhere between the foyer and the grand staircase, Jabali's intoxicated brain misfired. Instead of ascending to his master suite, he stumbled down the corridor toward the staff wing, collapsing fully clothed onto Amani's humble bed. Amani returned from her night shift at a 24-hour call center in the CBD at 3 a.m., eyes burning with fatigue but grateful for the overtime pay. Enzi's next round of dialysis was in 2 weeks, and she was still short on the deposit. All she craved was 4 hours of oblivion before her shift at the mansion began. But as she silently pushed open her door, her reality warped. Jabali Kamani, the man who never made eye contact, the man who treated her like oxygen, necessary but unseen, lay comatose on her sheets. Her first instinct was sheer terror. Had she breached some protocol? Would he accuse her of entrapment? Then she saw the pallor of his skin, the jagged rhythm of his breathing, the overwhelming scent of ethanol. Her caretaker instincts flared, skills honed from nursing Enzi through his darkest days. Jabali wasn't just drunk, he was on the verge of alcohol poisoning. Amani could have called Otieno to haul him away. She could have woken him and risked his legendary rage. Instead, she quietly pulled a knitted throw from her chest, draped it over him, and settled into the wooden chair in the corner to keep vigil. Hour by hour, she watched his chest rise and fall, ready to sprint for help if he aspirated. She thought of little Enzi, of the nights she slept in plastic hospital chairs, and realized that pain respected no tax bracket. The untouchable Jabali Kamani looked as fragile as a child when the weight of the world crushed him. As the Nairobi sunrise bled orange across the sky, Jabali stirred. His skull throbbed with the mother of all hangovers, and nothing around him made sense. This wasn't his California king bed with silk linens. This was small, sparse, smelling of lavender and poverty. "Sir, are you alive? You have been here all night." The soft voice made him flinch, and through the haze, he saw Amani perched on a stool nearby. Her eyes held genuine anxiety. Not judgment, not ambition, not the predatory look he was used to from socialites, just raw, unadulterated concern. "Where? What is this?" Jabali tried to lever himself up, the room spinning. "You wandered in here very late. I found you passed out and I was worried, so I stayed to ensure you didn't get sick in your sleep." Amani stood, her movements fluid. "Do you need water or a mara moja for the headache?" Sobriety hit Jabali like a bucket of ice water. He had invaded his employee's sanctuary, crashed in her bed, and instead of calling the guards or screaming for him to leave, she had sacrificed her sleep to guard him. The woman he had treated with casual indifference for months had shown him more humanity in 6 hours than his inner circle had in 6 years. I apologize," Jabali rasped, the words feeling foreign on his tongue. "I have no memory of entering this room." "It is okay, sir. We all have heavy days." Amani handed him a glass of water and 2 tablets. "Shall I call Otieno to assist you to your wing?" Jabali stared at her. Really looked at her for the first time. Her uniform was creased from the chair, her braids slightly frizzy, yet she carried a quiet nobility he had been blind to. When was the last time someone prioritized his safety over their own convenience? "Why?" he asked, his voice rough. "Why didn't you just leave me? Call someone to deal with the mess." Amani paused, her hand hovering over the doorknob. "Because you were vulnerable, and I was here. That is what human beings do for one another." After she left to start the breakfast service, Jabali sat in her tiny room, drowning in shame and a strange new warmth. For the first time in a decade, someone had seen him at his absolute nadir and responded with grace instead of opportunism. Instead of burying the incident, Jabali found himself drifting toward the kitchen during Amani's morning prep. He started with awkward questions. How long had she been on the payroll? Where did she live before? Amani's initial fear of termination slowly melted into cautious dialogue. "Is there family?" Jabali asked one morning, shocked by his own curiosity. Amani hesitated, then her expression softened. "A younger brother, Enzi. He is 9. He was top of his class before his body failed him." "Failed him how?" The light in her eyes dimmed. "Kidney failure. He needs a transplant. Dialysis keeps him here. But..." She trailed off, suddenly remembering her place. But Jabali pressed, gently, and slowly Amani's narrative unspooled. Parents who died working themselves into early graves. A brilliant little brother whose future was paused by biology. Amani's own buried dreams of being an architect, sacrificed to keep Enzi alive. During a routine inspection of the grounds, Jabali noticed Amani's sketchbook left on a patio table. He paused, flipping through the pages with widening eyes. These weren't doodles. They were structural masterpieces, blending traditional African aesthetics with modern brutalism. She possessed a genius he hadn't anticipated. For the first time in his adult life, Jabali looked past the uniform and saw the soul. Without breathing a word to Amani, Jabali quietly pulled strings at the Aga Khan University Hospital. He instructed his legal team to frame it as a scholarship grant for gifted youth, ensuring Amani would never trace the funds back to him. When Amani collapsed in tears of relief upon receiving the grant notification, Jabali felt something shatter in his chest. He had forgotten the sensation of using his power to heal rather than to conquer. Their morning talks became the anchor of Jabali's existence. Amani's unvarnished truth and quiet strength began chipping away at the ice around his heart. He started greeting the gardeners, funding local tech incubators in the slums, finding peace in small things, like the melody of Amani's humming as she dusted the library. Amani, despite her best efforts to remain professional, found herself gravitating toward the man emerging from Jabali's shadow. She saw his insomnia, his regret, his desperate hunger to be a good man. When she eventually found a receipt in the library that linked the scholarship to his personal account, her defenses disintegrated. Their first kiss occurred on a rainy evening when Amani found Jabali on the covered terrace, watching the storm wash over the city, tears tracking through his stubble. "Sir, what is it?" Amani approached softly, her heart aching at his silhouette. Jabali looked up, his armor stripped away. "My mother left when I was 12. The night she walked out, she told me I was a machine, just like my father. She said I was defective, incapable of love." Amani's breath hitched. This titan of industry, this man who could buy the city, looked like a lost boy. "She was blind," Amani whispered, sitting beside him on the cold stone. "I have seen who you are. You saved my brother. You have treated me with more respect than the world ever has." "You are the first person to see me, Amani," Jabali said, his voice cracking. "You are the first person to make me feel visible," she replied, eyes shimmering. In that moment of absolute vulnerability, the distance between master and servant vanished. Their lips met in a kiss that was tentative, desperate, a balm for 2 lifetimes of loneliness. But their joy was a fragile thing, about to be crushed. I am getting misty-eyed just narrating this. Smash that like button and comment your current mood, happy, anxious, or emotional. Drop the emoji that matches your vibe because this story is about to take a dark turn. Mzee Kamani descended from Mombasa like a monsoon. His 60-year-old face was a mask of granite. Spies within the household had reported back to him rumors of his son's dalliance with the help. Mzee had built the Kamani dynasty through cold calculation and strategic alliances. The idea of his heir compromising the bloodline with a maid was nausea-inducing. "This circus ends today," he spat at Jabali during their confrontation in the library. "I will not have you burning my legacy for some slum-dwelling gold digger." "Amani is not like that," Jabali roared back. But Mzee's psychological siege had already begun. He slashed Amani's wages citing budget cuts. He assigned her impossible physical labor, then humiliated her publicly when she faltered. He planted poison in the staff quarters, rumors that she was seducing the boss for a payout. But Amani, fueled by love and a spine of steel, weathered the storm, until Mzee played his checkmate. While Jabali was in Kisumu for a 3-day tech summit, Mzee made his move. 5 million shillings, Mzee said, sliding a banker's check across the mahogany desk. "Take it and vanish from my son's life." Amani stared at the paper. More money than she could earn in 20 lifetimes. "I am not a prostitute, Mzee. I will not take your bribe." Mzee's smile was a shark's grin. "Then let me clarify the alternative. I have made calls. Your brother's scholarship at Aga Khan? It gets revoked at noon. Furthermore, I have blacklisted his name. No specialist in Kenya will touch him. He will die, slowly, his blood turning to poison, and you will watch him fade." "You cannot do that," she gasped, horrifyingly aware that he could. "I can do anything." Mzee leaned in, eyes dead. "Unless you leave tonight. Disappear. Write him a note confessing that you played him for his wallet. Break his heart so thoroughly he never looks for you, and I ensure Enzi gets the transplant next week." Amani's world fractured. The love of her life or the life of her brother. It wasn't a choice, it was an execution. That night, Amani packed her singular bag through a veil of tears. The hardest task was penning the lie. Words that murdered her soul but would shield Jabali from his father's retribution. Dear Jabali, I am sorry it ends this way, but the charade is over. I was only ever looking for a way out of poverty. What we shared was a transaction to me. Please do not come looking. Amani. She left the note on his pillow and slipped out of the estate like a thief, carrying her shattered heart into the chaos of Nairobi's night. Jabali returned from Kisumu to a silent house and a devastating letter. Initially, he was paralyzed by grief, then blinded by rage. But as the days passed, the logic didn't hold. Amani's belongings were gone, but she had left behind the things that mattered: her sketchbook, the photo of Enzi. It was too clean, too abrupt. His investigation led him to the security logs and a sudden, massive donation made by his father to the hospital board, coinciding with Enzi's priority transplant listing. The realization hit him like a physical blow. Amani had martyred her happiness to save her brother. You incinerated the only pure thing in my life. Jabali screamed, storming into his father's study. I saved you from a catastrophic error. Mzee shouted back. She was a parasite. She was the only one who loved me. A concept you are too broken to understand. In a move that rocked Nairobi's elite, Jabali liquidated his personal assets and launched the Enzi Foundation, a medical charity for children. He went to the press, publicly announcing his search for Amani Wanjiku, declaring to every camera that she was the future Mrs. Kamani, regardless of his father's bigotry. Amani had found work in a dusty print shop in Eastleigh, hiding in the noise, caring for Enzi as he recovered post-surgery. She kept Mzee's check in a drawer, uncashed, refusing to profit from her own destruction. When the news segment aired, showing Jabali's desperate plea and his new foundation, Amani wept on the floor of her small rental. He knew. But fear and shame kept her hidden. Jabali finally tracked her down through the hospital's follow-up records. Their reunion in the dusty shop was explosive and raw. Accusations, sobbing, the truth spilling out like blood from a wound. You abandoned me, Jabali choked out, holding her face. I saved you, Amani wept. Your father would have burned your world. You are my world, Amani. The empire is ash without you. Jabali immediately moved Enzi to a private recovery suite, proving that no threat would ever touch them again. 6 months later, Nairobi hosted the wedding of the century. Amani walked down the aisle in a gown she designed herself, the ceremony held in the lush gardens of the Karura forest. The guest list was a revolution. Nairobi's billionaires rubbing shoulders with Amani's neighbors from the call center. Mzee Kamani appeared at the reception, a humbled man. He had finally realized that his son's joy was worth more than his archaic pride. He approached Amani, head bowed. I was blind, he admitted, his voice quiet. You have brought a light to this family that we did not deserve. Amani launched her own architectural firm with Jabali's backing, finally building the dreams she had sketched in the dark. Enzi, healthy and vibrant, went back to school, dreaming of becoming a surgeon. Jabali learned that true power wasn't in hoarding wealth, but in the courage to love openly and lift others as you climb. Did this story touch your soul? Smash that subscribe button to Echoes of Africa for more powerful tales that will restore your faith in destiny. Like this video if you believe Amani and Jabali earned their joy. Comment below with the biggest lesson you took from this journey. I read every single one. Ring that notification bell so you never miss these incredible stories of love, sacrifice, and redemption. Until next time.